Have y'all been waiting for joy to erupt in your life in 2023? I'm back. I missed you guys. Did you miss me? Of course you did. I don't even have to wait to the answer for y'all to answer that question. What's up, friends? I'm Ace, and I am back here to chat with you all about so many things that I've been up to since we last chatted. Gosh, where do I begin? I trust that everyone had the best holiday season that they could have. I trust that everyone has been, easing into this new year, into 2023. I personally, feel like the start of the new year is really going to bloom and blossom for me. Even though the start of this year has been, I've hit the ground running, is really going to reveal itself around springtime. But I'll talk more about that later. So what have I been up to? Let's see. Still running the marketing agency, still running the health and wellness brand. Of course, still chatting and having very interesting conversations with people who bring me joy. Working my tail off, but don't worry, I still have a tail because we've been working out and making sure that the peach stays lifted. Let's see what else. Had some amazing highs, some lows that we'll get into as well. And I don't even really want to call it a low. I just like to call all the things that we get to experience lessons and blessings and opportunities to grow. So I'm going to start, I guess, just kind of talking about the end of 2022, how so many client things happened, so many things, took shape. And I was able to really step into the fullness of being a full-time entrepreneur. We are entering into year 3. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it has been 3 years since, me stepping away from my corporate job. I remember 3 years ago around this time, I resigned from my job at the end of 2020. So going into 2021, I guess I was like, okay, I have this amount of money in my bank account and these are my bills. How are we going to make it work? And I had no idea that it would come into me starting a marketing agency, to me leading I led 8 retreats last year. In 2022. So some by myself, some I collaborated with, some were a couple days, some were 1-day retreats, and really joining in on this beautiful sisterhood called the Sacred Womb Sisterhood, which is now we're called Sacred Sisters Co. Those love bugs, Shauna, Rita, Adrienne, we really kick-started something in July of last year that has now just taken shape and holding space for now 80 plus women at a time, which we just had our Sacred Sister Summit, the first one of 2023 back in January. So that's been going on. I went on a date. So we're going to talk about that and what kind of revealed itself for me. I've not really, since ending, my relationship a few years back, I've not really been focused on dating or, partnership or anything like that. I really just kind of took that time to focus on myself, focus on my healing. I dove deep into my work at that time and really just honestly was just holding on by a thread. So I figured if I'm holding on by a thread, why in the world would I bring someone else into the fold? So going out on a date recently was really exciting. It was exhausting. I don't know how, you guys and gals date so often. It's like a sport, I feel like, for some people, which is pretty cool. I don't know if that's necessarily my ministry, but we'll see. So went out on a date. Let's see, been teaching at a preschool, which has been really exciting. Still at the middle school as well, teaching kids yoga. And I couldn't have imagined like me teaching 12 and 13-year-olds and thinking back at the time where, I was 12 and I think I got my period when I was 12, right? So it was like, just such this shift in my life, and then also dealing with home life that was, tumultuous at the time too. So all of these different things are shifting and changing for me at that pivotal age, and then being able to be a guide for kids now. There's no way, y'all, I could have like planned that for myself. Let's see. So the holidays were sweet. Ended up staying local here in LA. Yeah, I did. I got a tree, which is still up. It is now a Black History Month tree. I decided to call it, which is like really hilarious, mainly because, and I don't have the lights on or anything. Like, don't worry, I named the tree Henry. Henry is good, but it brought me joy, like getting that tree. And I'm really happy that I decided to get one. I was out on a run one day and they were selling the trees at this church nearby the park where I run. And I just decided in the middle of a run, I was like, these little kids were standing outside, Christmas trees, everybody here is a volunteer. And I was like, well, you got the babies out here working, so let me go see what they're talking about. And so it was really great. I bought a tree, brought a lot of joy to a time when the holidays are usually really tough. So that was really sweet. So I was here for Christmas, and then let's see, Lily and I ended up going to Desert Hot Springs to stay at Miracle Manor, which Miracle Manor is just this amazing hotel in Desert Hot Springs, California, about 2 hours away from LA. We stayed there and just soaked up the healing vibes, the energy of the place, the healing energy of Desert Hot Springs. Got an amazing massage. Shout out to Granny Roro, and who gave us this massage. And during the massage, it was probably one of the best massages I've ever had in my life. And there was a moment when Granny Rover was like working on my feet, and I still felt like hands near my ears and above my head. And I was like, how is she in both places? And I said to her, how are you down near my feet? And I still feel hands above my head. She goes, oh, that's probably my grandmother's spirit here in the room. And I was like, okay, all right, I'm not fighting this. Basically feeling like this weight of the world was lifted off of my head, out of my mind, out of my heart. And I just felt so good. Before going to that trip, it was just like one thing after another that I was just starting to kind of feel like tired, heavy, and weighed down by, it'd been a long year, a beautiful, blessed, and bountiful year. Like, praise God, all praises to God for sure. But it'd been a lot going on. And I was like, dang, I just need a moment to breathe. And that's exactly what it was. Like, we sat in these amazing soaking tubs that they have there for like hours, like until nightfall. We were sitting in these beautiful tubs, just like soaking and drinking like delicious wine. We were having delicious food. And it was just an opportunity to really like get away, get out of LA, and just catch my breath. And we both left there. Like, I called her a few days later and was like, girl, do you just feel amazing? And she was like, yes, I feel so good. And so that was really fun to have that moment of like, alrighty, we're ready, hit the ground running. Because I knew going into the new year, I would be embarking upon something that was really major, that's really going to change the trajectory of my career from a fitness perspective, that I'll be able to talk to you guys about soon when I can. But just know big things are happening. And I was asked a few weeks ago, not literally, but I knew metaphorically speaking, and my spirit guides and my angels, and even just like myself, was asked, dig deeper. This is the year where you're going to be asked to dig deeper, to get out of your own way, to all the things I've talked about in past episodes. Say yes, full body yes. When you mean it, say no, and I love you when you mean it as well. Taking a chance, understanding that fertile ground is all around me and embodying that, knowing that my gifts, that I'm different, I'm built different. I look at life in a different way. I have moved through things, moved through mountains, and fallen along the way, but still keep getting back up. So during this moment a few weeks ago, that's when I was being asked to dig deeper, to challenge myself, to honestly embrace everything that I set out, that I said I wanted to do. Really say, okay, you wanted to have this business. You wanted to bring more people, more yoga into the homes of more people. You wanted to get more people to the mat. So now is your time. Are you going to hide? Are you going to let some fake limiting belief like imposter syndrome hold you back? No, we're not doing that. So 2023, I said, even before the year started, I was like, this is going to be my year of courage. My word is courage for the year. May I have the courage to. May I remember that I am courageous enough to. And after kind of a little bit even deeper work, I realized like, okay, courage is a great word and it is still very much my word for the year, but there's still a little bit of fear that hangs on the edge of that E of courage. It's still a little bit of me trying to control the outcome and the way in which life unfolds itself. So with courage is beautiful. The word courage is beautiful, but it's a both and this year in that I am stepping fully into full body faith, y'all. And I'm inviting y'all to come onto this journey with me. Full body faith that we're operating in the already, which I've talked about on a few episodes before, that life is excited to help us continue winning, which again, we've talked about before, but really having full-blown faith in myself and my gifts and the people that I surround myself by and in God over everything. That oftentimes I find myself daydreaming and remembering that sometimes I'm not even operating in this realm. We'll talk about that later in a few episodes down the line, I'm sure. But embracing the fact that like, oh, I'm not even here. And then when I like am here, I come back to this reality by way of me not trusting myself and believing perhaps that someone's word or what they think or how I should operate in life over my intuition, over what God said, right? So that might feel a little heady right now, but stay with me throughout this journey, throughout these next few episodes, because we're going on an adventure of a lifetime. And I am no longer being shy about what I offer, what I bring to the world, who I am. When I go out on a date, and the date was awesome, by the way, like just kind of going back to that for a moment, the date was fantastic. It was a fantastic date. We had great conversation, and I relinquished the need to control the outcome of how it would all play out, right? I just followed my intuition, trusted my intuition on the journey. So we'll talk about kind of like where we are now. And a few episodes down the line, I don't want to give out y'all all the juice this time, but it's pretty good. And it was a really empowering ending. Not an ending, actually, a powerful realization that I had for myself. So we're going to talk about a few things this year. We're going to talk about the fact that I had a realization that I had some deep abandonment issues that I needed to address, wanted to address, was required for me to address so that I can continue moving in the way in which God planned for my life, and not holding on to old stories, like letting my story be my story, but not be the guiding force of like where I go and how I continue to move and do great things. So I'm also in this really cool sound bath training right now, which I really felt called to join with my dear teacher, Sarah Oster. I found out about Sarah Oster through my amazing friend Darren during the pandemic. And, her and her husband Alex would hold these sound bath sessions on Instagram Live. And during a time when we were all in the house, I was living alone. It felt like I was not alone when I would join Sarah and Alex's sound baths. And so I've experienced his sound baths before, but those felt different, even though they were virtual. And I said, okay, so obviously it'd been some years. I'm following Sarah's work, love her so much. And I said, okay, got this opportunity to be a part of her level 1, 2, and 3 sound bath training this year. So we finished level 1 a few weeks ago, and it was so great. I wrote this thing about how, one of the questions was, why sound bath training? Why sound? What does sound mean to me? And as someone who I grew up like just in this household where there was a lot of yelling, there was a lot of fear, there was a lot of abuse, like stepping out of the home, anytime I felt like I needed to have someone hear what I had to say, I felt like I had to yell. It was like, okay, if I'm yelling, people are listening to me. But I believe I've talked about this in past episodes that no one's listening to you when you're yelling at them. They're just like, okay, are you done? All right, I just want her to be done. I just want her to stop yelling. So with sound, it's an invitation for me to, for the record, I've definitely stopped, yelling as a way in which to get my point across. I've definitely learned to quiet that, that need to, take up space in that regard, because I was just hiding behind fear. I was sad. Now when I speak, when I share my voice, when I speak my truth, it's from a place of like, okay, I've sat with this for a moment, so I'm making this beautiful sound by speaking up for myself. I'm making these sounds with my breath. I'm exhaling, full body exhaling. And Sarah asked us to ask about, why we're grateful for sound. And I said, I'm grateful for sound because it allows me to ground and connect with the spirit of my guides. My guides are working so hard with me. They're oftentimes waiting for my lead, I've discovered, to say, okay, what are we doing next? How are we moving next? Where are we going next? So that's what sound means to me. And then the ability to be able to exhale sound as a note, as a song, as a becoming, as an invitation, as a portal opener, and recognizing that I'm a portal holder. So I get to be that. So yeah, we're talking about a lot of things this time. I'm so excited to be back with you all. We are going to be having some guests that I'm so excited about this season as well. So stay tuned for that. And my intentions for this podcast, if you weren't aware, if it's your first time joining in with us, my intentions are this: for you to come away after each episode feeling lighter and brighter, with a bit more joy in your day. My intention is to have you step one foot in front of the other, knowing that your path is paved in peace. My intention is to always be joyful, even when I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling sorrow, or I'm feeling grief, or I'm mourning, the loss of someone. There's been a lot of mourning over the last few weeks, and holding space for friends who have lost parents and loved ones in our society, just berating us over the head with just so much loss, and yet remaining joyful because the sun is still going to shine. I wake up each day. We get to wake up each day with breath in our lungs. That means I have another option. I get another chance to start anew. My intention for this podcast is to stay open stay vulnerable, stay brave, stay kind, not just to everyone outside of me, but really kind to myself, compassionate to myself, forgiving of myself, and staying longing for what's to come, and doing the work that's necessary to be here each day. This mantra, and it's a Bible verse too, faith, without works is dead. It's like if you don't do the work, if you don't do what you need to do in the natural, God and our spirit guides and angels in the universe can't do what's required, what's necessary in the super. So we work together, right? So that is my intention for this podcast. That is like this is my love letter to my younger self, who we will talk about more, inner child work. And it's my love letter to those who may have never known love and joy before, who've only known and experienced strife and grief and just thought that's the way in which the world works. No, this is my love letter to you. This is my love letter to my mother. This is my love letter to my father. This is my love letter to my sisters and my brothers. And, it's my love letter to my nieces and my nephews. It's just my love letter to little Ace, baby Ace, who we're turning 40 this year, y'all. And I'm sitting here recording a podcast in a beautiful loft in North Hollywood, part of Los Angeles, California, where I've lived for the last now going on 12 years. So it's my love letter. So stay tuned. Keep coming back. I can't wait to hear from you all. Please subscribe. Please tell your friends. Please rate, review, all the things, because we're going on a journey together, and I'm excited for you to come along. So thank you so much for coming back. Thank you so much for joining. If this is your first episode you're listening to, and so I can't wait. And so I will see you soon. I love y'all. Let's go. Let's keep winning.